What I want to talk about today is a short case study of the migration that happened in our project, in our quite big project. Migration of from one monorepo actually to the separate monorepo for frontend. So yeah, we had a lot of issues, and now we still have a lot, but a bit less. So it's fun. It's fun. Okay, so first of all, what we need to do is to explain the context of our project. And from the technical perspective, what we are talking about is a huge .NET based solution with multiple projects. Some of them are API only, some of them have some views, so we also are maintaining these views. And we have like 45 or even more micro frontends written mostly in Vue. We have some shell app that displays all of that, and we have some shared component library, like every project, I guess. So stack is quite wide. We have a lot of different technologies there, and we have this whole kind of everything depends on everything. Who has ever seen this kind of project? Who has worked in that? Yeah, a couple of hands up. Yeah, of course, that happens. So we have a lot of situations like some custom script needs to be run in order to build some dependency of that package, and only if you remember to do that, then you can develop locally, things like that. So this is like a main caveat of our current or our previous setup. Or maybe I should be saying current. We are in the middle of migration. So let's say we are still not there yet. And from the organizational point of view, from a long time, we have been saying and trying to start this kind of migration. And from this point of view, I can understand and I can agree that it was not the first and main and most important business priority, since the product is doing great, product is making money, so developer experience was not like the first most important thing. But recently, we finally got the developer experience team, and guys in that team are laying foundations for improving our workflows, which is great. And one more question here. So who has a developer experience team in their company? I'm curious if that, okay? So not a lot of people. I was curious about that. And in our organization, in this particular product, we have like 15 or more squads, most of them backend heavy, but they either maintain the old .NET views or they have their own Vue micro frontends. We have one repository, and that's not entirely true, as some of the microservices were already moved out of this repository. But today we focus on this one, on this one main thing, main .NET solution. And we also have a funny situation with CIs, because we have two of them. And we are at this place where we have docs for understanding the older docs for the previous pipelines. So that's also a bit confusing. And we also hope to resolve, at least partially, this issue with the migration. So our main problem is about of course, slow pipelines, a lot of wasted time. With such a big team, we have a lot of queue jobs every day. And let's say you are changing something in the shared library. This triggers a lot of jobs for each of the micro frontends, and you are basically queuing all of the workers. So whoever does anything else somewhere in the project needs to wait because someone changed a label in the shared library. So we have this kind of setup. And also because of that, of course, we have a very long execution time. So no incremental builds, everything starts from scratch. You change the label and you get change the label in one micro frontend, you get the whole build with whole .NET solution, everything builds. So like it's a very, very long process. And also in our setup, we have this versioning. I would say that's an issue because whenever you change anything, in the library, let's say, every micro frontend that depends on that library gets the version bumped automatically. And that's also a bit confusing. So you are never sure, unless you read the commits list, what is inside of your newer version of your own micro frontend. So we also want to get rid of that. And to finish the context, a few words about me. My name is Dawid Perdek, and today I will be talking about the project from Altium. Anyone knows Altium? Okay, a couple of hands. Yeah, that's a product for designing electronics, so it is quite complex. Hence this stack and this whole mess. And if anyone would like to talk to me about basically anything, any of these technologies or experiences, I will be happy to do that. I am also doing a lot of public speaking. I am a Microsoft MVP, the same as Kasia. And yeah, that's fun. Public speaking is fun. So if you want to do that, also let me know. And yeah, so what are the main benefits of using the Monorepo in your project? So right now we should have like a single source of truth. Everything should live in one place. Technically speaking, we have that right now, but some things live not on the let's say tooling layer, like what Kasia showed before, but it's more like spread across custom scripts and stuff like that. So I wouldn't call that single source of truth in the end, even though it lies in one repository. And yeah, right now we don't have any way to build only affected stuff, and with proper Monorepo tooling we should be able to do that, which is awesome. And yeah, we also have a lot of direct file system dependencies between the products, some hard-coded paths in these custom scripts and stuff like that. And Monorepo usually gives us the possibility to simplify most of that and avoid this kind of imports, improve versioning. And in general, that should improve the collaboration, right, in our team, in our product. But there is one asterisk that this happens only after the big bang. So whenever you start the migration, this will take some time. You can do it step by step, etc. But at some point, you need to like move the switch, and you just have to do it, and that's a big bang. There's no way to do it gradually. Okay, and when you have all of these issues in our project, technically speaking, we could probably resolve them with multi-repo, like extracting all of the micro frontends to separate repositories, extracting the library, maybe using some npm registry on our side. But in the end, we decided to go with Monorepo because we have a lot of shared code and a lot of these dependencies and this whole mess with pipelines, which are also tightly coupled. So in our case, I think that made more sense. But of course, multi-repo works in many scenarios. It's not like any of these approaches is superior in every case. So two main options we are considering is Nx, which gives us a lot of nice features, and I don't think we need to dive any deeper after the previous talk. So we have things like graphs and caching and a lot of plugins and generators and executors, so exactly the thing that Kasia was explaining. And the other tool we were considering was Turborepo. And here we have less config, it's simpler. You just like add one file with pipelines and yeah, that works, no plugins. On top of that, we of course have similar features like some caching, some parallel execution, or working with any environment. So these technologies are quite similar in the end. What else? We also tried. We tried Nx twice. It seems so. Okay, but we tried. Maybe not tried. We considered a couple of different technologies. But in the end, we narrowed this list to these two, and that's because, well, smaller ecosystem and less people just knew them. At least in our case, in our company, most people were at least a bit familiar with either Nx or Turborepo. So that was the main point. But on top of that, other like Bazel seemed too complex for us. And yeah, and Lerna, by the way, is also maintained by Nx right now, so we didn't even really consider that very strongly. And yeah, we created an architecture decision record for that. And as I said, like we had this whole big solution. The main problem was that we are using only these 3 directories inside of our huge .NET Monorepo. And we have 3 different folders containing micro frontend, some front-end features, or some view shell application and stuff like that. And because of that, we have a lot of system references and trigger a lot of jobs. In the beginning, we started with building identical setups for these both chosen technologies, and with some moving small part like one shared library, maybe one micro frontend. but moving the real packages and the real config just to see how it behaves. And then we did like a huge code review. The huge front-end community, whole thing in our company was able to see that, play around with the examples. And then we are also benchmarking pipelines and discussing this record openly. So by the way, that's what I recommend doing whenever you have to do some big changes in your company or project. And in the end, we chose Turborepo because of the minimal overhead and less changes were required on our side to just start with that. And the main point for us, or maybe not main, but important point for us also was that it seems easier to migrate from Turborepo to Nx, for example, or like build on top of that and add more and more, while Nx requires like a kind of big bang to just move everything there and change the tooling, adjust the infrastructure. Here it was just easier. So that's the point where we're at right now. And some part of the application, some micro frontends are already moved there. But yeah, it will be probably a long run. Probably I can come here next year and maybe talk about how that ended up. But yeah, it will take a while, especially that we are working on a living organism, like doing changing the engine on the flying plane. So yeah, it has to be done carefully, and at some point there will be this big bang when we switch. So we'll see. For sure, there will be. It will be a nice topic to talk about next year. And unfortunately, I can't show you the code, obviously, because of the NDAs. But I prepared a small demo for myself with little app for who has the back to office policy and is forced to go back to office. Anyone? Okay. So we are kind of, yeah. So one of the main problems when you work from the office and you have a lot of people there is where to go to lunch. So I created, like, it's a very small POC, no handcrafted code, everything from AI, and it kind of works good enough. So I created this one application with. At first, I created the Angular version, like a plain without any Nx, Turborepo, whatever, and with what turned out to be 9 libraries. So we have a couple of features. I will show the app in a second. So we have one app, 9 libraries, and this identical source code in Angular was, of course, with power of AI, was moved to both Nx and Turborepo just to compare how this looks like, and for the small benchmark, which I will show in a second. Now let's take a look at the app. Okay, yes, that should be okay. So we have a very simple application. Nothing important is going on here. Some list of users, some list of restaurants you can add. Every restaurant has a couple of dishes. All of the data was also randomly generated. You can disable restaurants, etc. And okay, let's do this. Let's start voting. And now we'll need to jump around. Yes, we can leave at 12. Okay, awesome. And now we need to choose our preferred place. So Bella Italia, sushi, burger, and we can also say that we don't want to go somewhere. Let's say the other person will do that. Oops. Great. Okay, let's do that. And they say we can't go to the Italian one. And when it's done, so as you can see, we have a couple of views. It's not a very complicated app. Each one of the features will be a separate library then. And wait, where do we go? We go here. So we have 2 submitted votes. We can end voting. And here we can see who won. Sushi won. Okay, that's great. And now people can choose the meals. So nothing fancy. It's quite simple. A couple of views, 1 or 2 shared components. Here we can see the list. Oh, and this actually comes from our problems with lunch. So usually we try to go at 12 p.m., but sometimes someone has some meeting, and it's very hard because we need to order together. So it's very hard to get from them their order. So that's our biggest issue actually with this whole launch thing. Yeah, so we have this kind of simple app, and yeah, and we can take a quick peek at the code base. So here in the base, yeah, I think it should be good. So here in the base we have this whole application. Everything's in app, so yeah, no libs, no apps, no special division features nested here, and that's it. And then I was, actually in the repository, anyone used Kiro? Okay, a couple of hands, yeah, great. So I was actually using Kiro here, and I think it did quite good job. It didn't require a lot of not manual coding. I said I didn't do that, but a lot of messaging and adjusting later on. This whole approach with spec-driven requirements tasks and design tasks works quite well. And so what I did is I explained the application, of course, here, and Office Launch Base is the main spec. And when the main app was created, I was just saying something like, take the base folder and migrate that to Nx or migrate that to Turborepo. So it was like one sentence prompt. And in both cases, of course, it did like a lot of tasks, very reasonable description, and did great job right away. So in case of Nx, it was basically working out of the box. In case of Turborepo, I had to do a couple of additional prompts about the tests, and it took some time. But in the end, like this whole thing was created, like all three versions, I don't know, maybe 2 hours or something like that. So yeah, it did quite a good job. And what I have, what is the important difference we have here? So for example, in Nx, we don't have the package.json in every library, but we have a project.json and this whole thing with tags, which is one of the greatest features of this whole Nx thing, at least in my opinion. So having these tags and this rule for enforcing boundaries, awesome. You don't get that out of the box in Turborepo. But this is also a part of this like whole migration stuff you have to do when you move to Nx, because you have to do this. You have to tag all of your micro frontends libraries and everything. And that's some effort that we don't have time for right now. And for example, here in Turborepo, we get the separate package.json everywhere. And I guess partially because of that and because of the vtest config, I had a lot of issues with that. I had to ask AI to resolve that. That was a sacrifice I was ready for. Yeah, okay. So basically this is how it looks more or less. We can dive into that later if anyone wants. I can also send you a link. But what I wanted to show you after I tried this out with like a couple of scripts. Without cache and with cache, linting, testing, and build, you can see that there are quite big differences. Everything here is in microseconds, except for the last row, which is in kilobytes. That's the build size. So the app isn't big. It's like 68 kilobytes. And actually, the Nx version was like 800 bytes bigger for whatever reason. But yeah, quite small in both cases, and the difference is negligible. So no worries about that. And in case of these three scripts, you can see that Turborepo was slower with linting and building without the cache. Surprisingly, it was faster with testing. But when it comes to cached results, it was faster with linting and testing, and surprisingly, it works longer with build. So I was very surprised about that because, for example, with tests and lint, we have like 15, 16, 18 milliseconds. When it comes from cache. I think I even run that here. So tests are cached. Oh no, I made a change before. Wait. Yeah, tests are cached like 23 milliseconds, 20, 21. Oh, okay, that's probably because, maybe because I'm sharing the screen. It's a couple of milliseconds longer. But anyway, it's very fast. But when we try to build that, and it should come from cache. Oh, what happened? Oh, now it's 60 milliseconds. Okay, great. It was not like that. let's see here. That would be more consistent. Yeah, here you can build is basically instantly. Yeah, so that's very fast. And here now, okay, looks better, but still it's a bit slower, I guess. 60. I will need to probably adjust that. Anyway, it looks like Turborepo is just slower at the first try without the cache, but then it just works slightly faster. And when we are talking about this in general, Nx scored a bit higher in our across our front-end community. As I guess probably because more people is familiar with that. I guess it's more popular. Who used Turborepo before? One hand, okay. Yeah, so as Nx, just for a formal vote. Okay, yeah, so like 4 times more at least. And yeah, and in our case, in the company, we decided that Turborepo was faster to bootstrap, and Nx requires more config to benefit fully from it. But my small case here actually shows that I spent more time on Turborepo. It's not like days longer, but I know 20 minutes longer. In this case, it's a noticeable difference. Yeah. So what is important? The most important takeaways from this short case study is that the caching is the very important thing here and a huge benefit, especially if you can introduce that in builds and optimize your pipelines. Then right now we can have some pipelines that works goes for 4 hours, so that's a lot, and it would be great to just speed them up, at least cutting half or whatever. That would be a lot better. And yeah, so plugin ecosystem, and in general, I believe that in the end we will probably move to Nx, at least in my opinion. It's not like it's settled anywhere, but I think it will end up this way because there is a richer ecosystem and yeah, just more plugins, more stuff. But Turborepo in the end turned out to be faster to start and more flexible, and yeah, it gives us exactly that, more flexibility for the future and to just move gradually from this whole .NET Monorepo to our to extract the front-end part to a separate Monorepo and improve that. And we have to remember that migration in general is just it's a process, not just an event. Of course, this asterisk is there. There is some point where we do the big bang. It's almost inevitable. So we usually need to do that this way. But the migration can be done step by step, gradually. Yeah. Then it's just more smooth. And yeah, in the end, that's not magic, but when you get these tools, for us, when we finish this migration, this will be magic. Moving from 4 hours pipeline to some cached incremental builds, magic with 20 minutes will be awesome. So I hope we will see this magic very soon, not necessarily next year, maybe this year. That would be great. And with that, that's it. Thank you.